Good morning, everyone. Today is the third issue of the log, I guess you could call it. Got a little Rick James playing in the background. I use that to get me going in the morning. As you can see, I'm dressed for work today, and I will be pulling a full shift. But then I have the next 2 days off, and I'll be flying to Vegas again, just for fun. But one of the things I wanted to let people know was, some of you have known me recently, and some of you have known me all my life. Turn that down a little bit. But they don't know about me and the kind of person that I am and what has made me who I am today. Today I have a good job. I make six figures. I do a lot of entrepreneurial stuff that I still keep my hands in, and I try to just relax and enjoy my life. But growing up was interesting. I was very intelligent growing up, but at the same time, I done some things that most people would not be able to make it through. So a couple of those things are. I went through high school and I never finished. I went all the way up till the first day of my senior year, and then after that dropped out. But was able to go back and take the proficiency test within about 8 months and passed the test and got my diploma. So moved on from there, went into the Air Force for tech training. I've always been intrigued with electronics and computers and the like. And then as time grew and went by, I became a more mellow person. That took about, let's say, fast forward 25 years to get to the point where I could actually sit and have a conversation with somebody, and they didn't have to worry about if Charles got upset and what Charles would do or things like that. So, done a lot of things that I'm not proud of, but also done a lot of things that have made me who I am and helped me be the person that I am. I go through life with the words, you can do anything. I don't believe in can't. There's always a way. If you want to accomplish a goal or do something or improve your life, don't say that you can't do it. It's just a matter of how. You may not know how, but you can always do anything. Case in point, I've been homeless on more than one occasion, and now I don't have to think about those things. So I've brought myself up from nothing, like I said, on more than one occasion for circumstances that I caused my own self, and can prove to anyone that you don't have to be in the street or on drugs or anything like that. So those out there who are wondering who I am, I'm the guy who currently brings you Indie Rock Magazine, and there's a picture of the cover of one of the issues we do. I'm also the guy who brings you What's Really Good Magazine, and there's that one. I'm also the guy who brings you Beats Magazine. There's that one there. I'm also the guy who is the president and CEO of Cool Trek Records, and I have artists signed to the label. And I'm also the guy who gets up in the morning and works every day and goes through his life dealing with the scleroderma and the pulmonary hypertension. And with that, I've always been drug-free. I never did drugs. I don't do alcohol, never have. And one of the reasons for that was on the alcohol side, let's tackle that first, is I never liked the taste of alcohol. And I have a very, and I know the word now is palate, I have a very strong palate that I could always taste the alcohol in a drink. So it could be a wine cooler, or it could be a spritzer, or it could be whatever. And people would say, yeah, but it tastes great. And I'm like, yeah, but the aftertaste, I can taste the alcohol. And I never liked the taste of it. So I didn't drink. When it came to drugs, I've always been a control freak. And my whole life and thought has been, if I can't control anything outside of me, I can at least control me. And so drugs, you lose control. Your control goes to the drugs. So I'm not one to have the drugs control my life. So I've always controlled my life, hence no drugs. So that doesn't mean that I've been a squeaky clean person all my life. All that means is I knew what I was doing when I was doing it and did it anyway. Nothing I can say about that. Those who know me and know the history, you can just finish those comments and sentences and paragraphs yourself and realize a person with an IQ as high as mine in the 140s, yes, I knew what I was doing. So take full responsibility, and I've come out on the other end, only now to face scleroderma, where I'm having to take a ton of drugs every day. As a matter of fact, there's a picture of the bottles that I have to open every morning, and some of those pills in those bottles, there's not just one. I have to take 2 or 3 a day, or 1 or 2 a week, and that type of thing. But that's what I'm having to deal with to be able to function on a day-to-day basis. So it's a challenge because, like I said, I don't like drugs, and here I am having to take drugs. So it makes it kind of hard. One of the other things is because I never say can't, or always trying to figure a way, I end up obtaining items that I want. I mean, last week I showed you guys the championship belt that I obtained, and I'll keep that in my collection. And then if you notice the color of the tie today, yes, it matches the shirt, but it also matches, because I had to have one, I'm that guy, my Olympic gold medal. So if you're ever in Rio and you know Michael Phelps and you see some other guys, they got one, I got one too. So like I said, you can get anything, you can have anything, you can do anything. Don't say you can't. I would be one that is living proof from the businesses that I started with $0 to the life that I currently live, with the things that I've had go on in my past, to be able to say you can do anything, you can obtain anything, you can become anyone. It's just a matter of what's in your head, what your desires are, and your determination to be able to pursue your dreams, achieve your goals, and to have the life that you want to have. Like I said, I'm living proof and can give testimony to anyone that these things and anything you can be accomplished. So one of the other things that people have been saying to me is, you do these logs and weekly, and there are people in my life, and they want to know, how come I don't do shout-outs? How do I don't say thank you to this person, thank you to that person, I'm thinking of this person, that type of thing. There are a lot of people in my life that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, or week to week, or month to month. And I know from the views that I'm getting on the logs that a lot of you are tuned in and read about them. But my thought was, if I didn't want to single people out for good or bad, and I wanted people to be able to try to get to know me, because I've always been a very sheltered person, and also to be able to understand what a person like me is going through. What some people have realized now that it's 2016 is when you put something on the internet, such as these logs and things like that, they're up there forever. It's not something that can easily be taken down once they're linked and shared and spread across and things like that. And for all intents and purposes, they're up there for a long time. So I wanted people who didn't have the courage to come forward and say, hey, I have scleroderma, hey, I have pulmonary hypertension, hey, I'm dealing with this, to be able to see and understand that other people are dealing with it and are living their lives to the fullest extent that they can, without the problems or the sorrow or the depression of saying, hey, I'm stuck, I'm going to die someday, and just be, sitting in a room depressed. So I don't do shout outs, so that I try to keep it as generic as possible. I normally have to watch my language, so I try to keep this G-rated, in case the kids see it or children see it. I know my mother watches it, so I try to keep a conscious mind of the people who might be viewing the video and things like that. So, well, another thing is that the medicine I have seems to be keeping the disease at bay. I still am running into the problem with shortness of breath, and it's not getting worse, so that's a good thing. And I'm still shooting for September 23rd. That's the date that I determine, or they determine from Stanford, if I'm into the clinical trial, which is a 2-year clinical trial. And I'm hoping really to get into that. Nothing's changed, so as long as nothing changes in the next 25 days, I should be able to get in, as long as there's spots available. One of the other things I deal with, because what the scleroderma does that's really noticeable is that it tightens the skin. So imagine if you could go like this with your hands, and you close your hands like this, and I'm only able to do this now because I'm actually taking a drug that allows me to do that. But if you put on a pair of gloves and then you go to close your hand, you might be able to only close your hand that much and not go down to a fist. So then let's say you put on 2 pair of gloves. Then again, it restricts your hand closure even more. So that's one of the problems with scleroderma. What it does is it's making the skin thicker. So without the gloves, in the mornings, before I take the drugs that I'm prescribed, that's about all you get. I just can't close the hand. And that's the case with all the skin and most of the organs in the body. So if they're getting double layered like that, then, for example, the pulmonary hypertension, the arteries are thick. Well, they don't get thick this way. They get thick that way, which restricts the airflow, which means I can't breathe. So I'm on probably 5 different drugs to try to loosen that skin up, stretch those out so that the organs don't get damaged, and also so that it doesn't contract like that. So if you can imagine your heart trying to pump the blood, and then it's being constricted, not just in the heart, but also in the pathways to all the other organs, then that's where you run into the problem. So everything's like that. So we'll see if the clinical trial comes up with a drug that is better at loosening that up. But I mean, even when I go get a flu shot, it's hard for the needle to go in because the skin is thick. So I can, actually say I'm thick-skinned. Well, I don't take crap from people anyway, never have. I've always been really thick-skinned, and those who are around me and spend time with me and have relationships with me would testify that I'm pretty thick-skinned, and and you have to be pretty thick-skinned to be around me. So that's a byproduct of my upbringing and the life that I had to live to get to where I am today. But it allows me to persevere in this challenge and in day-to-day challenges and things like that. So anyway, so like I said, ready to go to work. I'm going to take my gold medal, and I'm not going to take it to work. I have to deal with that. People trying to get it from me, but that's not going to happen. So, but today's log was more about getting people to know what I do, what I spend my time, some of the things I deal with, and my accomplishments. I mean, how many people do you know that have bowled a perfect 300 game, and I have the ring to show for it. I have the gold medal. I do the magazines, go to work every day, and still deal with the disease that I have. But hey, I got my Rick James playing in the background, so that'll make my day a little bit brighter. And hopefully this video will allow you to understand me more, who I am, and make you realize how, what would be the word, some people would say blessed, some people would say privileged, that you are to not have the problems, the medical problems that I do. So I am signing off for the day before I run out of air and can't talk anymore. Some people might like that. But I will see you guys again in about 7 days. And I'm off to work and off to Vegas tomorrow. Talk to you later.